So in this particular class excerpt, we're doing a deep dive into the proposal writing process. So that's the first thing I look at. When I get a proposal, let me see how much work I got to do. I got 4 volumes. I got 4 pages of administrative. I got 15 pages of technical, not including resumes. I got 10 pages of sample problem. So I'm already at 29 pages of text. That's not a bad lift. Anytime you bid a proposal, read the whole thing. What is the government asking you for? What can you realistically do? Can your past performance support what the government's asking you to do? And in the areas that it can't, you start identifying subcontractors to fill those holes with verifiable past performance. I'm not going to take Welcome to my channel. My name is Dr. Curtis A. Merriweather Jr. Welcome to my channel. The purpose of this channel is to educate entrepreneurs. We educate entrepreneurs through education, consultation, and training support services. Now, I want to lower your learning curve, and I want you to accelerate your business profitability. We do this by sharing advanced educational principles, practical knowledge, and lessons learned based on almost 28 years in the government contracting game. Now on the screen, you see my URL. It has changed since we first launched this channel. Definitely give me a follow, drop me a DM. I love getting your comments. Also, on your screen, you'll see our teaching platform. That's 8figuregovcon.com. The GovCon is short for government contracting. 8figuregovcon.com. You can definitely go to our course store library. We have 2 flagship programs. That's our 8A government contracting for barbers and cosmetologists, and our 8-figure 5X program bundle. It'll build you a scalable, solid business foundation that you can scale your government contracting journey on based on time-tested tips, principles, insights, and lessons learned. Now, before I jump into my content for today, I want you to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That way, anytime I produce new content, you will be notified most promptly. Okay, now that we got all of that out the way for this video, in this video, we're going to do something like we did in a recent video. I'm going to share a little bit of a class session that we had recently. The number one question that I get all the time on social media and on various social media platforms that I'm on is about proposal writing. So in this particular class excerpt, we're doing a deep dive into the proposal writing process, just to give you a little bit of an idea of what happens behind the hood in the 8-figure GovCon community. And we're doing a deep dive on proposal writing. We're going really deep. We're walking the student by the hand as he prepares. This was actually recorded a few weeks ago. That proposal has already been submitted. But now that that is out the way, we wanted to make sure we gave some insight into how we teach proposal writing. Just one way we teach proposal writing in our class in a very hands-on, tactical manner, so that not only the person asking the question, but also other students who are live in the session can walk away with some great insights. You will see some cuts and edits in the video, so we were able to cut out a couple things here and there, but for the most part, you will get a strong flavor of what we talked about in that particular session. For my students, I do sometimes share proposals so that they can get a good idea of what a finalized winning proposal looks like. But I'm just going to give you a bird's eye view into what actually happens in our live sessions that I do with our students every month. As you guys already know, in the 8-figure government contracting community, we do 25 to 30 hours of on-demand content. You'll have access to the content for the life of the platform. Go, and that'll help you build a strong, solid business foundation. But the real value in our course is the live sessions, the guest speakers, and the experts that we bring in and the content that you won't find anywhere else on any of my social media platforms. We cover a lot of information, and the real value of the 8-figure government contracting course is the community and the live questions and the live sessions that we do. So you can get tailor-made, customized, practical insight, tips, and strategies just for your unique situation, because everyone's situation is different. But I don't want to belabor it. I want to jump right into that course, that class. This was recorded a few weeks ago. I want to jump right into that class so you can get a up close and personal seat of what it looks like to be a part of the 8-figure government contracting community. So number one, every proposal when it comes out has a question and answer period. You want to ask those questions during the question and answer period, any qualifying questions. Number two, when a proposal is active, the contracting officer is not going to talk to you. They don't want to be deemed as giving you an unfair advantage. So normally the only way they're going to talk to you is via email. And in that, during that Q&A period, that's the only time they're going to address questions. Any question that comes in, they're going to address it, and they're going to broadcast the answer to everyone who has expressed interest in that opportunity. So don't ask anything that would give away your competitive advantage. But a great question is this a recompete or a new contract? Will be great. Now, this is one of the reasons why we look at the contract forecast. When we look at the contract forecast, they'll tell us typically whether the effort that we're looking at is going to be a recompete or is this what they call a new contract.
Makes sense.
So if it's on a forecast, it'll normally tell you. But being that you don't know, you would ask it during the Q&A period if the Q&A period has not expired.
That makes sense. And given that this contract is going to be open for 1 month, is there even, I guess my mind is thinking like, is this even worth putting all the effort and sending out making sure that all the resumes are ready to go and the offers have been submitted, even though it might just be a month old? Because one thing that comes to mind is that I know some CEOs put an offer out there, but there's already somebody who's already, they probably put a, I think it's like I forget what they call it, but effectively they already know about the company that they want to, solicit on, at least fill out the information to put in a contract. But for something that's like 1 month old, would you say that this is even worth even pursuing?
For just FYI, most agencies don't do a good job. So I hope I can get Anna here. I don't know if you were here yet. Anna's been a contract officer for like 30 years. She could eat this question up. Most agencies don't do a great job of planning their solicitation opportunities, but most of the time you only get 30 days. Why do I say comma? Every now and then you run across an agency who will do a market survey, which lets you know something's coming. They'll go from a market survey to a pre-RFP, and they'll normally drop either a SOO, statement of objectives, an SOW, statement of work, or PWS, performance work statement. Even though Anna's pushing that, she says she's teaching a lot of these agencies to do SOOs. Now, why would you do an SOO? Because it's more open-ended and it gives more flexibility to the government. It gives you more work, but it minimizes the errors that would come back. Sometimes when the government asks for stuff, they don't know what they're asking for. And when they don't know what they're asking for, you quote them one price based on what they wanted, and then you do engineering change, and you jack the price up when it's done because they didn't know what they were doing. You would think they would get tired of this at this point, but they keep doing it. So you're normally going to have 30 days. It is great when the agency will give you a draft RFP. When they drop a draft RFP, you'll normally have a full RFP. It's draft. You're not responding. You can look it over and you can give them back comments on the RFP. That is how most agencies should do it. They don't. So that's why I said comma. So in 90% of the cases, you're only going to have 30 days to respond. When they drop a draft RFP, in theory, especially if we got a statement of work and a draft section L, draft section M, when they do that, in theory, have months to devise your response. And we'll normally start writing against a draft RFP, knowing some stuff is going to change. But typically, it's a risk, but typically the changes are not significant. The government does a lot of copying and pasting. Go to section L. So because there's no past performance requirement, if you think you can do it, I would go after it. But you're gonna have to make sure that you really tighten up number one and number two, and you see they're not as concerned about the price. So this is probably a good one for you. So if you're comfortable, I would support you going after it. And the big reason is I didn't see anything in here about a past performance requirement. And most contracts have a past performance requirement. Now let's go the section above. Normally this would be labeled section M. This is the second thing I would look at. Go up above and let's look at section, normally be called section L, but they've kind of named, okay, it's section M still. All right, go up above the section L. And what you're looking for is I've seen it earlier. They're gonna start talking about what they want in the volumes. So anytime we look at a proposal, everyone normally goes to section C. And they want to see, okay, let me see what the work is. But that ain't what we want to see. There we go, section L. So you see here, this is instruction to offers. So I kind of know what this is going to say. Let me say this. Anytime you bid a proposal, read the whole thing. Read the whole thing. And then, let me back up. Before you read the whole thing, read section L, which we're finna go down now. So scroll down a little bit from him again. So you got the volume, they got the title of the volume, and they got the page limit. So our first volume is volume 1. And the title of that volume is the administrative volume, which is different. Normally it's called an executive summary, but it is what it is. And that page is four pages. Okay, keep going down. So you got the second volume. It's gonna be, and that's what they call factor 1 technical. And it's going to be 15 pages. That's your page limit. You cannot go above 15 pages. So whatever's in that volume, you got 15 pages to answer the mail and get out. And then they got an asterisk and it's saying, all right, here we go. So remember we talked about the resumes. They got an asterisk saying resumes do not count towards the page count. So you got 15 pages of text and your resumes do not count against you. However, they're telling you resumes are limited to no more than 2 pages. They're telling you what they want in the proposal. When we look at section L, we're finding out the level of effort. How much effort, how big of a lift is this going to be to respond? Now, so we got 2 volumes. We got a total of 4. Then we got volume 3. This is your factor 2 sample problem solution and consolidated plan of action and milestone called a POAM. You got 10 pages. Then they got your little double asterisks there, inclusive of the narrative, GFE material list, which is the government furnished equipment, and supporting diagram. So they're telling you in that 10 pages, you still got to get your equipment list in here. And that equipment list, we're going to let you do it on an 8.5 by 11 page. Note that diagrams are included in the page limit, but 11 by 17s are not allowed. Now, why would they say that? Because government contractors get slick and they say, we can't get all this on the 8.5 by 11, so we're going to put an 11 by 17. We're going to fold it over to max about the space. They're telling you, you cannot do that. All right, then you got volume 4 called factor price. So you got 4 volumes and they're telling you don't have a page limit. Now, normally, when they give us a pricing volume, they normally give us a template, and it's normally an attachment. So go back to the sam.gov roles tab at the top. Yeah. See if, there we go. So, no, that's pre-proposal information. Okay, here we go. The GFP list. That is your attachment. See if we can open it up. So that's the first thing I look at. When I get a proposal, let me see how much work I got to do. I got 4 volumes. I got 4 pages of administrative. I got 15 pages of technical, not including resumes. I got 10 pages of sample problem. So I'm already at 29 pages of text. It's not a bad lift, to be honest. 29 pages in roughly 20 days, that is manageable. Okay? Now, that don't include the resumes. Yeah, that's not a bad lift. So y'all can write 29 pages in 20 days. Let's go down to section M. We've already looked at this, but I want to look at it in order. And, oh, here we go. Stop. We're getting some additional information about what's in the technical volume in those areas. So when you kind of look in it, you'll see where additional details. Let's go to section M.
Okay.
All right, we're just going back to where we were. So if I look at section L, I go to section M, and in section M, I want to find out how are they going to evaluate me. We've already done this, but I just want to do an order. Now, when I look at section L and M, we're going to go to section C. So go up to section C. So now that I know how much work I got to do, and then now B, I know how they're going to judge me. If I'd have saw past performance in there, and if Miguel would have told me he don't have no past performance, and that was factor one, we were like, well, what's the point of even bidding this? Is this making sense? So we want to find out A, how much work, B, how are we being judged? What is the criteria for winning? And once we understand the criteria for winning, are we in a position to win? If they would have said price was most important, and that probably means it's going to be cheap. And if you know your prices are not cheap, you got a 1.7 wrap and not a 1.2, you probably say they don't need a bid in this. All right, now let's look at section C. So we're just going to scan it real quick so we know it's nav C. Keep scrolling down, Miguel. We got our objectives. Then okay, here we got an anchor team. So this is going to be my contract line items. 001. Now you see it go from 001 to 1001, 2001, 3001, 4000. Why did they do that? For my anchor team, plan 001, that's for your base year pricing. 1001, that's option year 1. 2001, that's the price for option year 2. Every year there should be an escalation. So let's just say I bid it at 100 grand, just so I can do the math in my head. My plan for the anchor team alone, because this is what they're talking about. For option year 1, my price is going to be $100,000 for that contract line item number. And option year, base year 1, my price is going to be $100,000. In option year 1, I'm going to do a 3% escalation. Now, I'm going to tell you guys to do 2%. But I do 2%. I do 2%. I'm going to do a 2% escalation. I know inflation or the CPI, consumer price index, is going to be more than 2% because we're in a hyperinflation environment. But normally we're going to charge escalation every year to keep up with the rising cost of inflation, or at least try to. We're not, brother. So option year 1, I'm going to go from 100,000 to 102,000. From 2,000, option year 3, I'm going to add another 2% on top of that. It's not going to be quite, it's going to be a little more than 104,000. You get the idea. Every year, I'm going to escalate that price by a percentage less than 3% annually. Okay, we tracking? All right, keep scrolling down. So that's just for your anchor team. Then you got your surge team, same thing. Now you see your surge team, it's 002. That's the second line item. And then you're gonna have option year 1, option year 2, 3, 4. See that? So you had contract line item 1 was your anchor team. Contract line item 2 is your surge team, and then you got, of course, you're going to bill out all the years. Okay, tracking. Now you see here they got some stuff here. The contract should provide full-time equivalent position, assuming 40-hour work week. Now we know that 40-hour work week doesn't mean 2080. Y'all know why the 2080 is not the number, right? We gotta back out holiday pays. So it's like what, 11 federal holidays or something like that. Then you got your own paid time off. Then you may have your company may offer paternity leave, but we back those numbers out. On the high end, it's going to be 1920. The government is not going to pay for your paid time off. That's your job's job. And that's why we have RAP rates that include our fringe. Are we tracking? Okay, keep going down. Technical requirements. We're looking at this real quick, y'all. So now you got your cybersecurity. Let's talk about. Y'all hear me talk? I always talk about you have to come up with a solution. I have not read this proposal, but when I read the end of it, I want to be to go on a whiteboard or the back of a napkin. It's kind of what I was doing with Miguel. He just didn't know it. And I would say, Miguel, how many people you need? How many people you need for this contract, Miguel, based on what you read?
5 people.
5 people. Okay. What of those 5 people, what are their roles?
Security engineer, cloud architect, IT specialist, 2 IT specialists, and 1 software engineer.
All right, good. I don't know if you're right or not, but good. All right, now those 5 people that you told me, are they going to be junior, entry level, mid-career, senior, or subject matter experts, and why?
So the cloud architect will be senior. We have junior to senior, actually senior security engineer. The IT like IT specialist will be junior, and the software engineer would just be junior. And the reason being is that the cloud architect is going to be the one that's going to be responsible for making sure that the system works as intended, and any best practices would be kind of bubbled up to that person. And then the senior security engineer would just make sure that all of the industry best practices, the CVEs, all the vulnerabilities are known and addressed and mitigated within the team. And the 3 folks that's going to be responsible, effectively DevOps engineers and the software engineer, would be focusing on delivering on the component and the work that needs to be done.
Okay, and I'm assuming that's the anchor team, right?
That's the anchor team. Yep. And the search team would just be additional software engineers or like DevOps engineers. Yeah.
All right. Now, did y'all just see? Again, I have not read this proposal to know if he's right, but did y'all just see what Miguel did? Now, Miguel, what you just did, you could do that on a whiteboard. We're gonna write that up. Now, can you tell me in words? You normally draw it up, and you could put pictures and stuff in your proposal. Could you tell me what the organizational structure would look like for the anchor team alone? Now, I don't want to know about the CEO. For the anchor team alone, who's in charge and who reports to who?
Yeah, so because there was no manager involved, it kind of threw me off. But the person who will be really responsible, assuming there's no people manager, would be the cloud architect. He or she will be responsible for all things there. The senior security engineer would report to that architect, and then the software engineers, all of them will report to that architect. But I see the security engineers being a pillar of a separate function that supports the infrastructure, the best practices, and the software engineers or DevOps engineers effectively are the ones who are implementing them, and the cloud architect are the ones orchestrating and delivering how the whole system works and making sure that it stays up, and defining how monitoring, the alerting, the 24/7 on call, and those things will be in play, like implemented.
Awesome. Do you think you need a non-technical manager?
I think a person with technical management capabilities will be desirable. I feel like and I guess it comes down to the people that will be filling this role. If they have past managerial capabilities or skill sets or responsibilities, I would say that I think we can do without that. But if everyone needs, that direction, that guidance, and tracking everything, like for example, having a project manager even, that could be very helpful. But I guess to answer your question, I'm not too sure. It would come down to the expertise of the current team that I think that's right now a little bit up in the air at the moment.
Okay, so y'all heard him. He said, I'm not sure. So what would we do if you're not sure and you was in the Q&A period? What would you do?
If I would, and is that question for me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, if I wasn't sure, then I would ask. And
there you go. You're right. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would ask what would be the is there what would be the responsibility in terms of deadlines or trying to meet the deadlines? Is it something that we have to do and we'll just get done? Because I think project managers, their responsibility is making sure it gets done on time and it's delivered appropriately. And of course, the team was going to do that, but the other portion of that is that are they going to need someone who communicates upward? So making sure that when is delivery going to be done by, it's communicated to like upstream managers who are on site. Then potentially someone who's managing the project, making sure that the sprints are moving along rather than people coming together and delivering and make sure it's complete on time. I think that's really where that comes down to. So it would need to be met based on what are the strong needs in terms of upward communication, and if that's something that's highly required and meeting it to a deadline, rather than more service based, like keeping the lights on. I would prefer more of a project manager than someone who's just there to make sure that the business is running as usual.
That's what I was looking for. All right, you got there in a roundabout way. All right, I'm because Antoine cyber too. Antoine, help him out. What would you, based on that uncertainty that he has, and I'm going somewhere with this. You're uncertain. with how this is going to be managed, what would you do, Antoine? What question would you ask to the contracting officer? I'm gonna give him a lifeline. What question would you ask the contracting officer? Because you're like, I really want this to get done, but I got some uncertainty, and I didn't see this in the helping you. I didn't see this in the solicitation. What would you do with that, Antoine?
So
I'm not trying to stump y'all.
I don't know. Like, I know my thoughts personally, what I would want to do in this situation, but I don't know what necessarily ask a contracting officer. Like,
Okay,
like from
let's humor me.
personally,
What would you want to do in the situation? What would you do?
I would have
I know you
somebody
haven't read it.
be based on 1.4.1, like in understanding the work. I would have somebody that manages the project, like, um, because like when I do technical work, I hate managing the projects along with some of the other people. Like, I hate having to send emails and say this is what we're doing, and I just rather say, okay, this is the block of work. We don't call them PMs, but it could be. I like to tell them, like, my engagement management. Yeah, we whitelisted all these IPs. This is this person account. We did all of this stuff, and we have that task list. And I just like to go look at the Excel sheet or whatever we have it in and just say, yeah, it's completed, but can you ask this person this question? Because all of that running down stuff takes away from the stuff I'm supposed to be doing. So as somebody who's technical, I don't like running people down. I just like to have the task at hand, and I let other people run people down. So
okay, no, that's the right answer. So y'all gave me two answers. I'm finna tell y'all what my logic was for asking those questions. I wanted Miguel to tell me, let me ask the contracting officer where they promote, because I didn't see it in there. And again, I haven't read it. Are we going to be, is this contract going to have budget to allow us to add management staff? That's one way of approaching it. The other way, and neither one of these answers is wrong. Remember, your job is to devise a solution. We write a proposal. You got to know that what I wrote in this paper, I can deliver on. So Antoine was also right in saying, it ain't in here, but I'm going to add an engagement manager because my technical folks don't do well with the management. Both answers are right. Now, at the end of the day, the government wants to see that it's a solution. Now, this is a great solution because both of them, and again, we just glanced at this. We ain't read this thing cover to cover. They both are in this world, and they read the statement of work and said, they devised a solution off the top of their head based on what they read. That's what we are supposed to be doing as government contractors. That's why I say go into areas that you understand. Because if you don't understand the area, those are just words on the page and they don't mean anything. Am I making sense? So you got two responses. We're in the Q&A period. Miguel could say, hey, I don't see anything in here about any management. So I'm gonna ask the contracting officer, do they foresee, this how you phrase it, do you foresee having an additional role for management? Because I didn't see the outline of the contract. That would be the right answer. The right answer would also be, I'm gonna put an engagement manager and I'm gonna try to really manage my costs and see who can I eliminate to make sure my price isn't crazy. Am I making sense? Your job as the prime, talking about priming here, your job is to tell the government what they need based on your solution to get the job done. All they want you to do is get the job done at a fair price. So both answers would have been right. But I probably would have asked just to cover myself. If they'd have said, no, we don't got no management budget and you suck it five. Again, I have not read this proposal to know what I can and can't do. But let's just say they said, no, it's 5 people and you stuck. That means I would have had to find a cloud. Was it the cloud engineer everybody's going to report to, Miguel, in your solution?
Yeah, it would be the cloud architect. Yep.
Okay, the cloud architect. So if the government told me no, that I know I need to find a cloud architect. I got to pay maybe a little bit more money. I got to find a cloud architect who can not just manage the technical, but who can also manage the engagement and the kind of the software development, project management stuff. Understands Confluence and all that other good stuff that we use to manage projects. Am I tracking?
Yep.
Keep scrolling, Miguel.
Yeah.
And I hope this is helping. Keep scrolling,
yes.
Miguel.
Yes.
This is good.
Mm-hmm.
There's just more stuff talking about the different teams. So we know we got a surge team. Again, we're not making this stuff up. We got an anchor team and a surge team. Now, let me stop for a second. When we write our technical solutions, let's go back to the top. Okay, here we go. There we go. So they told you what they wanted. They say you got 5 people. So because they told you, they don't always tell you, by the way, because they told you, you say, well, hey, I don't see a manager in here. Now here we go. Key personnel. When you submit those resumes, they want to see that name show up. So they don't like the bait and switch. They don't like you to say, Antoine Nephew gonna come and work this job, and he got this amazing resume. They wing you to work, and then day one, Antoine Nephew don't show up. They're gonna be pissed off. You tricked me. But you say, hey, we had Antoine Nephew. Here's his contingent offer letter. You said you was gonna award in 90 days. It took y'all 180 days. We small business. We can't hold Antoine Nephew that long. So what you want me to do? So we're gonna give you somebody just as qualified or close to Antoine. Now Antoine said, you can't even replicate me. It ain't no comparison. But he gonna tell the government, hey, we're gonna try to get you somebody close to, if not exceed that capability. Now, your non-key people, they would like for those names to show up, but they're not critical. So let me say it this way. The key personnel are the government's estimation. And like I said, sometimes they don't always tell you. Sometimes they leave you leeway to tell them what you want. But in this case, they're saying the key personnel, we believe these people are absolutely critical to the success of this program. These other people are great, but we don't think they're as critical. So they're telling you your cloud architect, so that resume needs to be spot on. Your network engineer, that resume needs to be fired. And your DevOps engineer need to be fired. Now these cybersecurity SMEs, they need to be good, but we don't believe they're gonna make or break the program. Am I tracking? All right, keep moving up. Let's keep moving. And we'll get through this now. Okay, this is what I want to see. All right, let's look at one of these, and I just kind of want to give an example real quick. 1.4.2.5. Let's go back up if we can.
Up this way, searching, or
yeah, no, you're going right. Keep going.
Okay.
I just want to find one that's not super long.
Okay.
You know. So let's see. I became that too much. That's my fault, not yours. Keep going. Keep going up. Yeah. Come back down. I'm sorry. I'll tell you what I'm looking. Oh, that's cool. Go back to that. Now, these are the government estimates. This is a good proposal. They're telling you this is what we think this is going to cost. So you need to be in that ballpark. If you're probably 20% higher than that, or let me go higher. If you're 30% higher than that, or 30% lower than that, they're gonna be like, you don't know what you're doing. So they don't always give you their government estimate, but here they did. Know this, whether they give you the government estimate, this is a really great proposal, Miguel. Whether they give you the government estimate or not, know that they have one. So they're looking for cost realism. Now, probably the reason why they gave you the government estimate, because we went back and we looked at our section M, they told you that price was their lowest factor. If price was probably higher, you probably wouldn't have got this. But the takeaway here is they have an estimate. They always have an estimate, by the way, but they shared it with you. So they're expecting you to be in the ballpark of that. And if you're probably, I said 30. If you're probably 20% lower or 20% higher, they're not expecting you to be right there, by the way. But if you're 20% outside of that bell curve, y'all remember algebra, you're 20% out, they think, no, they full of crap. They don't know what's happening. Because we know what this costs. Don't mean they're right, but they think they got an idea that they think they know what this costs. And if you're going to go outside of that 20% upper or lower threshold, you need to have a very compelling reason for why. And you need to put it in paper for why the estimate is wrong. I'm not telling you to do that, but I'm saying if you make that bold prediction, you need to be explained why you did that.
A quick question, okay? Dr. Kirk, yes. So Miguel submitting this proposal, or he might be submitting this proposal. like I don't know, Miguel, did you have a conversation with these folks, or I mean, like, how are they judging? Are they just judging the contract based on man, I know he got the technical and then the resumes, but I'm trying to figure out, is it like what they really judging this thing on? Or is it like, because okay, the reason I'm asking, because earlier you had a conversation with somebody where you was, and I think maybe you was a sub, and that's probably why it went this way. I can't remember, but you had a conversation and then which led to your, contract for you. And here he's like putting the whole thing together. So I'm just trying to see how they're judging his contract and
Section
how he
M.
can make sure that, yeah, I got the best.
Section M. Remember that? Remember we looked at the section on evaluation criteria? The federal government has to tell you how you're being judged. I don't know if I'm answering your question. Remember it was
that okay. So they're just going no face. They're not looking him up, not going to LinkedIn and trying to.
Okay, no. I see what you're asking me. Okay, this is how a tab. These are great questions tonight, y'all. This is how a tab works. They have it's all outlined in the FAR. They have a technical evaluation board. So we knew, I think when we had 4 volumes, when we looked at section L, Miguel, I know it was administrative. There was a technical volume. Okay, so what typically happens is they'll have a team and they'll hand that, we're not gonna go there. But if you look in the section L, they'll sometimes tell you we want 2 copies of this, 2 copies of that. That's old school. We had to print them out. Now they'll probably print them out and print them out themselves. They're gonna take the volume 1, they're gonna hand it to a team. That team is only gonna look at the administrative volume and they're gonna score it. They're gonna take volume 2, which I think was technical approach. They're gonna take the technical approach, they're gonna hand that to another team. And they're gonna score the technical volume. Now, each team is gonna be composed of different folks. So the administrative volume, we ain't gonna look because we ain't gonna be here all night. The administrative volume probably got some management stuff or either some executive summary stuff. I ain't look, but it's in there. They're gonna hand it to a team. The technical team, the technical volume, it's gonna be a bunch of engineers, probably like that team that they showed, the KMP people. It's gonna be people like that who understand that role. They're gonna read the technical volume. Then there's gonna be that volume on the solution. They're gonna hand that to another team. They're gonna score it. And then the pricing is gonna be a whole bunch of finance accounting people. They're gonna read that volume and see if your proposal has price realism. They're gonna all go off in their separate rooms. They're gonna score your proposal, and then they're gonna come together and they're gonna report out. And the company with the highest score wins. That's how they do it. And when you go through your debrief, they talk about basically how they compile the scores. That's how it works. Making sense? So it's not, I mean, your name gonna be on the proposal. They know who companies they're looking at, but they're not judging you against the other companies. They're judging you on how well your proposal meets the needs of the customer. That's why that solutioning that we basically just did in your technical volume, that's what you're going to explain to them. You're going to explain to them why you pick these people and how. All right, let's go back down to the statement of work because I want to show you something. When we get our statement of work, and I'm going to show y'all one of my proposals too, by the way. When we get to the statement of work, keep going. Yep. All right. So let's just say, stay right where you was at. You scrolled too fast. Right when we got past the surge team, they had a whole bunch of. See, this is good too. I'm not gonna do this with you tonight, Miguel. We can spend all night here. Go back up to where we had they had the anchor team and surge team, and they had what their roles were. I want to talk about that.
Okay, right here.
Yep. Go up closer to the top though. Right below surge team.
Right below surge team.
Yep. Right there. That's good. Yep, right there. A little bit, go down a little further.
Further? Okay.
Just below surge team, under technical requirements, under 1.4. In your technical volume 2, I believe it was, you're going to talk about how you're going to address this. So we're going to, since this is Miguel's proposal, Miguel, read out 1.4.1, well, excuse me, 1.4.1.1, and then tell me how you're actually going to do that. Just talk it out.
Yes.
Read it and then tell us how you're going to do it.
So yeah, 1.4.1.1, support the development of robust security strategy that emphasizes the ability to perform design reviews, code reviews, and security related tasks that mitigate risk. Yeah, so this one, so we're going to be using GitHub because they have a really good security vulnerability tool. And actually in the contract, they were talking about GitHub as like one of the methods for like committing code. So it fully aligns with what they were looking for, what I believe. So we'll use GitHub with their vulnerability advisor. And so we would have code reviews, design reviews, and security related tasks show up on the GitHub console. So anyone who's making code changes is going to go through GitHub. There will be code that would be scanned. So we will use tools like SonarQube that would go in and based on the code that's checked in during the PR process or the peer review process, that would scan their code and give code coverage. If there's vulnerabilities for any containers or images that get pushed, that also goes to the registry, which the document also talks about them having a registry and having a proper CI/CD process. So all that kind of will go into that portion of 1.4.1.1. And there's a little more detail there. That's the gist.
No, that's good. Y'all saw what he did. He did not see what some rookie proposal people will say. They'll write a proposal and they'll say, what's the name of your company, Miguel?
Yeah, capital CBG for short.
All right.
Yeah.
So they'll say CBG is going to support the development of robust security strategy to emphasize the ability to perform design reviews, code reviews, security related tasks, and mitigate risk. And we are the world best. That's what they do. That is not a proposal. They want to regurgitate what the government already told them. They know that. That's what they're asking you for. What they wanted is what Miguel just said. And you're going to do that for all of your now. You're going to write that in narrative. Now, what you're going to find, I'm going to show you my proposal in a minute. So you can kind of see this all come together. Now, unfortunately, you won't be able to see all of the pre-documents and stuff, the solicitation, but you'll get an idea what this looks like. So you're going to do that for each one of these, and then you're going to weave it into a narrative. Now, it doesn't have to be in a linear fashion, but that's what you're going to say. You're going to weave it together so it sounds like one cohesive narrative just for 1.4.1. So those 8 points, you're going to address those in narrative form. Am I making sense? Okay, same thing for 1.4.2. He's going to do the same thing. He's going to look at each one. And like I said, some of it you're going to find, some of it's going to be overlap, and it's okay. You just want to make sure you're answering the mail with this is my solution, not you tell me retelling you what you already asked me for. That's why people lose contracts, by the way. They want to restate what the government already know what they want. How are you going to address this? That's why I said, y'all hear me say it all the time on YouTube, you got to come up with a solution. What we're doing right now, back and forth, is solutioning. Miguel's read what the government want, and he could write this down on a sheet on a white. He could write this down on a whiteboard, just draw pictures. This is how we're gonna do this and this and this. And then once you're able to do that, you take that and you turn it into a narrative. That's a proposal. Some of this.
Nah, that's Kurt. That's Kurt 1-1.
Kurt 1-1, Doc. That's a proposal, Doc. You got it?
Got it.
Does it make sense?
Yep.
Any other questions, Miguel?
No, this is, yeah, perfect.
So long as you hit, because again, they're not asking you for past performance. It's all about how well you respond to the technical, and then that sample, they call it a sample problem, but it's a sample task order. What they're basically making you respond to is, we gave you this task order. So you're going to, in this first part, this may not have been intuitive. They want to see what your overall plan is. And this sample problem, they're going to, it's probably, normally that's the sample task order, which is how are you going to address this first problem we got? Every time, remember, every time the government asks you for a task order or a solution and you got a response, they're looking for your solution. They're looking for you to tell them X connects to Y, which connects to Z, and this is how we're going to manage it. That's all the proposal do. Now, they're not asking you for a management value. Sometimes they say, okay, that's the technical. Now, how are you going to manage all of this from a corporate perspective? So I'm going to show y'all one. You got any more questions, Miguel, or are you good for now?
Yeah, I think I'm good for now.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to, this was good. I had a much simpler one I was going to show y'all, but this was good. This was really, really good. I'm pleased with it. All right. So let me show y'all real briefly a proposal. All righty, I see a couple questions. It says, so when you put your subcontracting team and their experience in there, how do you do that if you haven't hired the team yet? No, that's a great question. It's not a stupid question at all. As the prime, I establish a target rate. This is my accounting team helps me do this. We do some financial engineering in the background. I have them, I show them the proposal, and we work on the strategy in terms of what we want to do from a pricing standpoint. We work on, when you're a prime, you want to forecast out if hiring, I forget how many people that was going to be for the company. If hiring another 90 people, thereabout, our rate in theory should go down. Our rack rate should go down. So we forecast out what will the rates be if we win this contract. So we don't do it based on today. So when you start looking at teaming, you look at your teaming based on the SOW opportunity. So you look at what is the government asking you for? What can you realistically do? Can your past performance support what the government's asking you to do? And in the areas that it can't, you start identifying subcontractors to fill those holes with verifiable past performance. I'm not going to just take your words, too much money on the line. I'm not just going to take your words, you've done this. Can you show me a past performance reference? It could even be from another proposal. Show me where you did this. All right, once we put the team together, the prime's job is to establish the target rate. Now, prime contractors either do one or two things. They will give you a rate sheet and say, fill it in. And then the areas where you underbid, they'll say, we accept that rate. They make some more money. In the areas where you overbid, they'll give you a target rate. But they control the rates because they have to make a certain amount of money off of managing your people. So even though I'm the prime and I'm subbing the work out, I'm still responsible for the overall contract. So I'm gonna put extra fee in there because I now have to also oversee you and your people. Because if you mess up, you walk away. I mess up, I got a potential bad performance rating, and worse, I may lose my contract. All right, guys, that's all I have for this particular video. I want you to go back and watch some of my previous videos, and I'll see you in a future video. And definitely strongly consider joining the 8-figure government contracting community. We call it 8-figure GovCon, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video. Until next time.